Hitman's Bodyguard is the new film from director Patrick Hughes starring Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson, and in this film a ruthless dictator by the name of Dukovich, played by Gary Oldman, is sent to the International Court of Justice for a lot of criminal activities, and they need to send in this hitman played by Samuel L. Jackson named Darius Kincaid to go testify against him. Unfortunately, Dukovich's men come in, attack his transport, and now basically he's on his own with the help of Ryan Reynolds' character Michael Bryce, a former AAA protective agent, and these two need to put aside their differences and work together to get to this court so they can send Dukovich away. It's going to be pretty hard though, because these two are pretty different kinds of people, and it's going to be hard to get along. When first looking at this film, I wasn't really that into it because Patrick Hughes was the director and he did Expendables 3 the last time, and I was not a big fan of that film, but then when the trailer came out, I was like, okay, this looks like something that I could be on board with. It looks like it could be pretty fun, and also this movie actually has an R rating as opposed to the Expendables 3, so maybe Patrick Hughes can do something great here. And The Hitman's Bodyguard is a pretty fun time. I walked out of the theater with a smile on my face, actually. Now, does that mean that this is a groundbreaking, something brand new to the action genre? It's gonna be the last big bang in the summer? No, not really. This movie really is just a fun time because the story itself is kind of a mess. But number one, if people who work for Dukovich keep killing the people trying to testify against him, wouldn't that mean that he's totally guilty of all this stuff and he should just be sent to jail? But number two, how can there be so many people who are supporting him that can just show up and attack people no matter where? Like, with so many people. I forgot to put this part in the video, I'm sorry, so I'm doing an audio thing here. There is one thing about the plot that kind of got on my nerves, though, is that near the beginning of the third act, something is revealed that was kind of obvious to me. It was so obvious that I assumed that the character kind of already knew about it, but they acted very surprised. So I guess it was supposed to be a twist, but I already knew what it was, so it was kind of predictable. There's a couple things like that plot-wise that are just kind of messy and it doesn't really make that much sense, but really the main core of this film is the chemistry between Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson. If these two cannot do well together acting-wise, then the movie's a complete failure. And it wasn't. These two actually worked very well together. What I really liked about them is that even though they basically are playing exaggerated versions of themselves, they do have different character sets. Like, for one, Samuel L. Jackson is the hitman. He will go in for the kill, like, straight ahead, right on it. Then you have Ryan Reynolds' character, who is more precise. He likes to think things through, like, think of the very next thing that's going to happen after he does one thing. He likes planning things out because he's the bodyguard. He's all about safety. His motto is, the boring way is the best way. So seeing those two kind of clash on those two ideologies of just going in for the kill or waiting to think it all out was really fun, and these two are really funny together. Ryan Reynolds, of course, he's always playing Deadpool in movies. Like, besides this movie, I saw a movie recently called Waiting with him, and it came out before Deadpool, but it's so funny to see Ryan Reynolds basically just play a Deadpool. And Samuel L. Jackson, of course, he drops so many mother F's throughout the movie that you could actually play a drinking game with it, take a shot, every time he says mother F. So you have those different character sets, and you also have just their two distinct personalities working together, and I thought they worked really well together. I was worried that maybe they'd go a little over the top, but I think they kept it at a perfect balance between them. And there's a couple moments where I thought, oh, they're going over backstory. Is this going to be something like really dramatic or just going to offset the tone? And it actually wasn't. Whenever they worked in the backstories between two of them, one specific part of their backstories, it actually was pretty funny the way they executed it. This actress really surprised me, Salma Hayek. Now, I knew she was going to be in this movie and she was married to Samuel L. Jackson, but seeing Salma Hayek just play this character, she was really entertaining. She really caught me by surprise. I didn't expect her to be as good as she was in the movie, and she really isn't in it that much, so to see her really steal every scene that she is in was great to see. And this actress I actually had no idea was in the movie. Elodie Young, she plays Elektra in the Daredevil show. Of course, you have Deadpool, Nick Fury, and Elektra. 3 different Marvel characters in the same movie. I'm sure I'm not the first person to point it out. Hey, Jim Gordon is in it. Gary Oldman. There you go. That's a DC character for you. But I digress. She was really good in this movie. She works off Ryan Reynolds very well. They kind of have a history with each other, so seeing that play off was pretty cool. I will say, though, that this movie's over-the-top kind of comedic tone kind of gets brought down a little bit because of either something really dark scene-wise that happens. Like, there's an interrogation scene, that's all I'll say, and it was kind of brutal and kind of hard to watch, really. It was kind of awkward because this movie was really funny throughout, and then you have this scene just sticking out like a sore thumb of just kind of painful to watch. And there's also a couple dialogue exchanges that are a little bit more serious than I think we would have wanted. Obviously, you can have some serious moments in a comedy film, but I'd suggest not having it be so huge, like dramatic-wise. Like, maybe bring it down a little bit more, have the drama kind of fit in well with the comedy more. I can say this, though. Patrick Hughes' direction, ever since Expendables 3, he's gotten better. There's a couple moments where there's a few green screen, like CG areas, I guess, and there's a couple moments where, like, the screen looks like it's getting brighter. I don't know what that was all about, but for the most part, the action sequences in this movie were really fun. A lot of them were very different than each other. Like, at one moment, you'll have someone on a boat, or on a motorcycle, or on a foot chase trying to catch up with a car. It was really good action stuff going on. It wasn't just the same old, like, shoot 'em up, like, duck for cover. There's a lot of different things going on, and Patrick Hughes really utilized the scenery very well. Like, for one instance, Ryan Reynolds has to fight someone in a kitchen, then in a warehouse, and he's using, like, these different tools around him to fight. It was some really well thought out stuff, and even a lot of the other chase and action sequences were really well thought out. I was actually so surprised to see how much better the action sequences were in this film compared to The Expendables 3. They're much better here, and they use the R rating very well too. Final flaw I have with this movie, though, is that Gary Oldman is just not that great in this movie. There's an opening scene where you're like, okay, where else can he go? But he's already on trial, which means he can't really do anything else to really get you interested in his character. He can't really say much, and when they finally get around to more of him near the end of the movie, it's still nothing that great. Gary Oldman's a good actor, but I think they really wasted his talent here. Honestly, there's really not that much to say about this movie. It is a lot of fun from start to finish. Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson work very well together. A couple other cast members like Salma Hayek and Elodie Young did really well. Gary Oldman is unfortunately wasted, and there's some parts about the plot that at the end of the day really don't add up. It's a little bit messy, but Patrick Hughes did well enough with the action sequences and handling the comedy with the dialogue very well, so I can definitely recommend this movie to people. I actually did not hate it. Looking at the Rotten Tomatoes score, I really don't understand why it's that low, because this movie I thought was really fun. Like, the chemistry between Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson really does carry this movie a lot, and they are really entertaining. I'm gonna give The Hitman's Bodyguard a B-. It's a simple, fun movie to end off this summer season. There's a couple things about it that aren't flawless, but for the most part, the chemistry between the two leads works very well, so you can be entertained throughout. And the action is very fun, very different. It's not the same old repetitive thing. They change it up a lot, and I really enjoyed that at the end. But if you've seen The Hitman's Bodyguard, leave in the comments below what you thought of it, and as always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.